So welcome to the Be Brave Q&A. So what we're up to today is I'm going to answer a couple of really common questions that I get. Of course, they're common. I get them all the time, but also that questions that I think actually have some really simple answers to them and are also not simple at the same time. So we're going to play in the space of paradox today. I want to start with this question. I get this question quite a lot. How do I last longer? How do I last longer? Of course, I get this mostly from men. And here's the thing. How do I last longer? How do I stay hard? How do I create consistent orgasms? How do I not come too soon? All of these questions live generally in the same category. They live generally in the same category of some level of erotic regulation, some space of erotic regulation. So what do I mean by that? I mean that erotic regulation, or any kind of regulation, is where you are in mindful awareness, consciousness, control, and momentum movement of your mind, body, heart, and soul, where you are regulating yourself. So erotic regulation is no different than, say, managing your mind, managing your thoughts, being really conscious of what you're thinking and being intentional about what you're thinking. Erotic regulation is the exact same. It's the same idea as regulating your nervous system. If you get really anxious, a way that you regulate your nervous system is to take long, slow, deep breaths, to bring the nervousness or the anxiety down, and to bring the frequency down into a longer or more stable experience, right? So erotic regulation is the same thing. Although what we're really talking about here is erotic regulation of either being on the high end or being able to play from the high end of arousal into the low end and back into the high end again. Erotic regulation is simply being in mindful awareness and control of your arousal and your arousal system. Now, the things that are going to get in the way of your arousal could be a lot of stuff. And this is where the question goes from simple to not simple at the same time. So it's actually a really simple process for most of us to learn to regulate our system. I mentioned just a moment ago, taking long, deep breaths if you're really anxious, to bring the anxiety or the temperature down, if you will, right? That's why yoga is so effective. We can regulate our eroticism by exercising more and building more stamina and stability in our system in order to be able to tolerate higher states of arousal or higher states of energy and movement and endurance. However, it's really about the stuff that gets in the way. The stuff that gets in the way of us regulating our eroticism or even our energy or our mind is all of the shit that has occurred in our life. If you are over 35, I'm going to take a wild guess because I know some of these names on the screen right here. Some of you are over 35. So if you are over 35, that means you have lived long enough to have some level of maybe chronic illness or pain, some level of trauma, some level of bitterness and anger, some level of upset in your life, some level of debt, some level of high responsibility. Maybe perhaps you are a parent and you have kids in your environment. Maybe you had a business fail. Maybe you just had a divorce. Maybe your house burned down. Maybe you've been stuck inside for 2 years and you're like, fuck, I am ready to go blow the roof off, right? So I say all of that because all of that stuff is the stuff that's getting in the way of you having a really great, wonderful, sensational sex life. It's all of that stuff. All of that stuff is clutter in your mental, emotional, and nervous system space. So there may be some elements of what I have named that you can't change. Like if you got a divorce, you're not magically going to get back married again. or if you have a chronic illness, you may not be able to solve it. But if you've got all of the other stuff all at the same time and none of it is moving and it's not changing and you're not healing and you're not letting go, then you're holding on. And all of that stuff is getting in the way of you being able to consistently regulate yourself in order to have an experience that's pleasurable and easy and fun and joyful and loose and carefree and delicious and hot and passionate and loving and intimate and sexy and all of the things that you may desire. So that's the stuff that you come to the table with every single time that you're like, hey, I want my dick to do a thing and it's not doing that thing. Or you're like, hey, I want to have an orgasm and I'm struggling to get to an orgasm. Everything that I just named, all of that stuff, that's all of the stuff that you come to the table with as soon as you think that maybe you want to have a sexy experience. So if you're not in any kind of, if you're not currently in a space where you are working through that stuff to handle it, to get rid of it, to let it go, to get it out of your body, to process it, to experience it, to move it through, then you bring it to the table every time. Even if you think that you don't, you do. And in the moment, the stuff that gets in the way of lasting longer, or maybe you come too soon, or maybe you like feel confident really in one moment, and then all of a sudden you are like, whoa, and you don't feel confident anymore. Or, maybe you're having a really great time and you are getting close to orgasm, and then you hit this plateau and then it collapses and you're like, wow, I was really having fun and now I'm not having fun anymore. Stuff that's in the environment itself, in the moment in time, that kind of stuff, that may be distractions. You may be really distracted. You may not be regulating your body, your mind, and your emotions in the moment. And so you get distracted by all the stuff that comes up. How many times have you ever been in an intimate moment in time? And for all of you who do not have your cameras on, turn your camera on because I want to know you. I recognize many of your names, so I know what you look like. So just turn your camera on already. And if you get into this moment where you plateau and you can't have the orgasm, or where you're having a really great time and then your, dick does something that you don't want it to do, it may be because in the moment you get distracted by the stuff that is emerging. So what do I mean by emerging? I mean like you may be thinking about something that is not in the present moment. You may be thinking about a to-do list, like an email that you didn't send, a smell that you're smelling, you may start to think about the dirty dishes. I don't know, anything that comes up. There are all kinds of moments occur. I know for me, I've definitely been in moments where I'm hot and I'm bothered and I'm having a really great time. And then all of a sudden I think about something that has nothing to do with anything in the moment. And it's a conversation that I had like 2 days ago that may be unresolved, or like I had some kind of emotion about this conversation. It may be about like, oh, I didn't tell my assistant to do X, Y, and Z. So these are like open loops, something that you haven't completed, and your mind is in a constant state in your life trying to hold on and remember the stuff that you have an open loop about. And it's possible that it may emerge when you're trying to feel open and free and luscious and powerful and sexy, and you want to have a good time and you want to let all that stuff go. That's the perfect time where it's all like, bing, hello, hi, you didn't do your homework. And that's a perfect moment where you may not have trained yourself to be able to handle that, see it, let it go, move it through, and come back. And you get distracted by it. You may also be getting distracted by, oh my God, am I going to stay hard? Oh my God, what if I go soft? Oh my God, what if I come too soon? I should really be thinking about baseball right now so that I don't have to come too soon. I mean, how many of you men have heard that before? Right? And anytime that you start worrying, you're distracted and you're not even in relationship with the person that you're with anymore. You leave relationship with them. So anytime that I am in a sexual scenario and I start thinking to myself, oh God, I hope I have an orgasm. I hope I have an orgasm. I really want to have an orgasm. I'm not having an orgasm. Oh my God, I'm not having an orgasm. I might as well get up from the bed and leave the room because I've already left. I've already left the moment that I'm in. And if you're with me and you are anxious and you start worrying about whether or not your dick is hard, you are not in relationship with me. You're barely even in relationship with yourself. At that point, that distraction is so distracting that you're only in relationship with ego and worry and the worst possible scenario. So it makes perfect sense that those would be the moments when arousal drops. When arousal drops, you lose your erection. When arousal drops, you don't stay wet. When arousal drops, you get cold, like literally the body gets colder. When arousal drops, you don't want to stay engaged, or you do want to stay engaged, but now you get frustrated or angry or upset or bitter or angry, or fill in any of the blanks. Maybe you feel ashamed. We can't be ashamed and be aroused, sexually aroused at the same time. It doesn't work, because shame wants us to hide and to be scared and to collapse. And arousal wants us to express and to open and to experience and to reach out. So all of that is a distraction, right? And if you haven't trained yourself to manage these distractions, to manage your mind or to manage your heart or to manage your nervous system, then you may be blown away by these distractions. In other words, they may overtake you because you're not in a relationship with these distractions. You haven't trained yourself to to stay attentive to your intention to play or to experience, to be with another person. And here's the last thing I'll say. This comes up a lot around the question of, I want to have sex, but I don't want to have sex. And I don't want to have sex with my partner. It comes up a lot in this curiosity around, why am I not having an orgasm? Why do I not last as long as I want to? Or why do I come too soon? And I want to tell you something that you may not want to hear, which is, maybe you don't really want to be having sex with that person. Our body actually knows quite a lot. Our body knows quite a lot. And, if I'm in bed with someone, and I think about partners that I've had over the years, when I really want to feel aroused, I want to feel excited, I want to have sex, I want to fuck, I want to play, I want to enjoy my body, I want to have an orgasm. And there's just something that occurs in the moment of our time together, that it could be any number of things that I start to get attracted to and start paying attention to that I don't like. I start focusing on something that I don't like. Oh God, I don't like this. I don't like the breath. Oh my God, we have this unresolved conflict. We haven't finished having this discussion yet. It comes up in the moment. And it actually tells me, I don't want to be having sex with this person right now. Yeah, I want to have sex, but I don't want to have sex with them. So it may be that we have something that's unresolved in the space of our relationship. It may be something physical, kind of tangible. I don't like the way they smell. I don't like the room. There's a fucking cat in the room, the dog is barking. It could be like, these sheets are disgusting on my body. I don't like the way that they feel. It could be any of those kinds of things. It may actually also be like, I just don't want to be with this person. And there's a lot of ways in which we train ourselves to want something that we don't actually want. We get that from a very, very early age. We're taught that from a very early age. Eat all your vegetables whether you want to or not. And a lot of men say the same thing about masturbating. I rub one off every single day, whether I need it or not. Like, well, if you don't need it, like, why are you doing that? Right? So we train our bodies to accept things that we don't actually want. And then we think that there's something wrong with us because our body or our mind or our heart isn't, quote, performing the way that we want it to. So it could just be that you don't want to have sex with that person. You don't actually, and for some people, it's that you don't want to let go with them. You know, the place of coming to an orgasm, when we come to an orgasm, when we come to release, that is a moment of intimate surrender. It's a moment of vulnerability. It's a moment of letting go. It is a moment of releasing, right? You're not just releasing like a, ejaculate out of you. You're not just releasing muscle tension. You're not just releasing the energy, but you're actually letting your brain take a break. And the part of your brain that's taking a break is the part of your brain that is on watch, the part of your brain that is on lookout, the part of you that is experiencing and observing and evaluating at the same time. The part of you that is the part of you that triggers the worry, right? The part of you that then like takes the leap, right? I'm experiencing something. Oh, and now I'm going to start worrying about it. All of that stuff actually goes on vacation, even if just for a few moments in time, in order for you to generate the orgasm, in order for you to cross over that threshold. And so only when you are allowing yourself to be in such a vulnerable place, an intimate place, do you actually create an orgasm or a release or a peak erotic moment that is delicious and memorable and wonderful, rather than, say, an accidental ejaculation. Because that's also possible, right? So it's that vulnerability. And maybe you don't really want to be vulnerable with that person. Maybe there's something inside of you, your body knows or your heart knows, like, I don't want to be this vulnerable with this person, or I can't be this vulnerable with this person right now. And so all this stuff gets in the way, right? So I want you to notice that I've used the word train your body or train your mind several times here, because I really want you to think about solving a sexual problem or even creating a sensational sexual life or creating an epic love affair with life or with another person as something that you train for. I have been, I have a new awareness around this now because I've been going to the gym now for about 4 months, very consistently. 4 to 6 times a week I go. And I'm very proud of myself. Thank you very much. Yep, I appreciate that. I'm going to pat myself on the back because it's actually a very, very big deal for me. I have not in my lifetime been this consistent. And what I notice is that, going to the gym, being in this physical movement day after day after day, sometimes the same exact movement every single day, actually is pretty simple. But every single day, I see and I learn something new about myself. And I would not see and learn something new about myself if I wasn't up to the same motions every single day, right? Now, I don't train legs every single day, but every single day that I do train legs, I learn something very different about my body because every single day, my body is changing. Every single day, I'm working with how I am that day, whether I've slept really well, whether I'm a little bit tired, did I drink enough water, did I eat before I went training at the gym, how's my mood? Did I listen to the news beforehand? Did I get upset by the news? Sometimes I listen and I'm not upset. Sometimes I listen, I get upset. Do I like the music that's on in my headphones? Right? Notice how all of that is very similar to what I just talked about in terms of your erotic life or a sexual moment in time, a sexual experience, right? And so every day when I go to the gym, I'm engaged in very simple steps. Hold the barbell, put the barbell by my leg, lift the barbell to my shoulder. These are very, very simple steps, but they require deep intimacy with the practice. I track every single day how much I lift, how many sets, how much pound, how much time I spend at the gym, how many calories that I'm working. I'm getting incredibly intimate with the details of what I'm up to. And I tell you this because, if we think about where you really want to go, you have to be really clear about where you are right now. You have to be very clear about where you are right now. So the training aspect is knowing where you are and knowing where you want to go. I think of the sport baseball. It's not my favorite sport. I'm not much of a sports person, but baseball is pretty simple. You hold the bat, you hit the ball, you run the bases. You stand in the outfield and you be ready, and then you catch the ball and then you throw it to your teammate. It's pretty simple, right? And if you want to stay in the neighborhood park and you just want to play pickup games and you want to play with the kids and there's lots of errors and blah, 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 it doesn't matter and it's whatever, then it can be really easy. But if you want to go to Yankee Stadium and you want to play in Yankee Stadium, you need to train for it, right? Because now when you play at a higher level, there are so many more details to be attentive to, right? How you move your body, how you move your body in the moment, how you prepare your body for the moment in time that you're going to, right? If we think about, I don't really like to use sports metaphors for sex because, it's not like you're getting a home run when you have intercourse, right? And sex in itself, it's not like you're preparing for a big game because sexuality is something that you experience over time. And that's why learning to train your body is so important. Training your body and your mind and your emotions is so important because you're in it over the course of your lifetime, right? And so, like any sports person, they don't just train the day before the game. They're in training all year round for a period of time in which they play games. And so all of this training is really about leveling yourself up so that the more that you train, the more that you experience, the more that you understand, the more that you can pay attention to, the more that you can come back from distractions. And in so doing, you're also able to interact with your partner at a deeper level. When you know yourself at such an intimate level, now you can really know who your partner is. You can really know what they want. You can feel into them. You can feel into their experience. You can entice them and enroll them to play with you. So go into the chat and tell me, what are you hearing me say? I want to know what's landing for you. What is landing for you right now? And then I'm going to come back to this idea of training. Knowing more about myself and engaging my partner. Yeah, great. What else is landing? Knowing yourself, right? So part of the training is actually discovering. Part of training yourself is discovering who you are, or discovering where you are now, or discovering what you want. Part of training is adding in new material, learning something new, trying something new. But the thing that's tricky about this, that, we tend to train our minds and our bodies to want things that we may not really want. And the part that's so powerful about this is that we all have the capacity to unlearn that and to shift. And that's what's so powerful. Okay, daily practice. Great. Great. So go ahead and put your questions into the chat. You came to a live Q&A. So I want to invite you to put your questions into the chat. So I want to keep talking about this idea of training And I want to actually share with you my idea of training. Okay. So in a couple of weeks, we're having the Liberating Desire Live boot camp. It's a boot camp. It's designed to be an intensive training to train you to maximize your pleasure and your passion so that you can generate sensational sex and epic love, right? To actually train yourself. Now, some people are like, hey, Eva, I'm not like you. I don't have as much energy as you do. I don't want to have as much energy as you do. I've been told this, right? And I want to tell you what, I have trained myself to be this way for you in this environment. When I am training you, I have trained myself to be high energy, to be like off the wall and off the charts and high intensity. When I wake up in the morning, I am a lot like, oh my God, I don't want to get back to bed. I don't wake up in the morning bouncing off the walls. I have trained myself to be this way. So when I say maximize your pleasure and your passion, I really am talking about training your mind, your body, and your heart, the erotic, emotional, and embodiment skills in order for you to generate passion and pleasure with another person. You first must generate it inside yourself in order to generate with somebody else. So the boot camp is happening in a couple weeks. And in this time, I'm training you to get tuned in and turned on so that you show up for yourself and you show up to be with another person, to be intimate and powerful and passionate and vulnerable and sexy together, or just with yourself, either way. So in this training, we're training you to wake up your erotic body and to cultivate the skills that you need for sexual success inside of your own body, inside of your own mind and heart. You're going to discover and define and declare your desire with passion and with confidence, even if you have been scared in the past or even if you have fear of rejection. You're going to break through shame and fear and any kind of limitations or interpretations so that you can freely and fully express yourself. And what we're going to practice is using your authentic voice to communicate effectively with yourself and with your lover. So this is a boot camp. It is a full immersion training. So when I say wake up your erotic body, I mean use your body for pleasure, for passion, and for presence. So you're going to learn tools around breath, movement, touch, sound, and awareness, how to use the tools that you have as a human being and wield them in such a way that you can generate ecstasy easily, and also that you can solve sexual problems. So I started today's conversation about how do I last longer? How do I not come too soon? How to create an orgasm? These fundamental skills that I've just named for you, when you know how to use them, then you can apply them to any kind of sexual problem that you may have. You can also apply them to relationship challenges, especially when you may be in conflict or feeling anxious. Breath, movement, sound, touch, and awareness. These are the tools that you need to be ready and willing and excited to explore your own sexuality and to share it with another person. These are the kinds of tools, when you know how to use them, you can evoke passion from someone else. You can evoke pleasure from someone else. You can read and learn and understand what somebody else wants. These are fundamental human skills. And as you change over time, the way that you use these fundamental human skills are going to change with you. So when you know them, when you're clear about them, when you understand them, now you can use them today and in 20 years. As you develop, you emerge, you transform, you continue to develop your skills. Declare your desire. So this is what we're working on. We're working on the body, desire, and your voice, your communication. Now, your desire is answering this question, what do you want? Some of you, when I ask, what do you want? You might say, I don't know. You might say, I don't want to tell you. You might say, oh, I can't have this. When I ask you, some of you, I've asked you this question because I recognize some of your names here. When I've asked you this question, what do you want? You tell me what your fantasy is. And then you say, oh, but I know I can't have that. And let me tell you, your experience of your own sexuality, your experience of your sexual pleasure and passion, your experience of your sexual freedom is only as expansive as your desire and your vision. So you can only experience what you can see, what you can imagine. You can only create in time what you can imagine to be possible for you. So if you're telling yourself, I can't have this, we're going to bust through that. If you say, I don't know, we're going to create clarity for you. And these, again, I'm going to give you some simple tools that you can use today and tomorrow and in 10 years so that you are in a path of momentum. You're moving forward. You're in action. You're in creation. You are generating what it is that you want rather than hoping or wishing or tolerating some bullshit that you don't like right now. Because only when you see it and you say it out loud, then you can create it, right? So I'm going to show you how to do that. And the third part, like I said, the third part is about your voice. It's about landing your communication. So when you say, what you say and how you say it is really important. Wouldn't you say? Do you agree with me? Give me some head nods for those of you I can see, right? Because if I say, I want to be with you, might be really different than, yeah, I want to be with you. Really different than, I want to be with you. All very different. Communicating effectively is key to creating safety, intimacy, and ecstasy. So I'm going to give you some basic scripts for how to talk about sex, whether this is over coffee or in bed together, so that you're creating what you want with the person that you're communicating with. And also that you're landing your communication so that you're saying exactly what you mean rather than speaking in innuendo, trying to guess, wondering, what the other person is thinking. I'm going to give you some really easy tools so that you can have clear communication. And I'm also going to show you some advanced relationship tools that you can use to speak to your lover in a way that your lover can actually hear you. Because the way that I may want you to communicate with me, the way that I can hear it, may not be the way that you can hear it. We might hear and be listening for very different things. And so, body, desire, and voice. Body, desire, and voice. These are pretty critical. I've talked about emotional, erotic, and embodiment skills, heart, mind, and body. And that's really what we're paying attention to here in the boot camp. This is a training to get you tuned into all of these elements and give you really powerful skills and tools that you can use anytime. You can put into use immediately, whether you're in a relationship or not, whether you're having sex with your wife or your partner or not, whether or not you are in conflict or not, if you're solo, if you're in a relationship, it doesn't matter. You can put all of this into use immediately. And so you're going to leave this 3-day training feeling really powerful in your erotic body, powerful to be a lover, powerful to express yourself, and really committed to your desire, your vision for your sexual life, your vision for your intimate life. Because if you don't have a vision, then how are you possibly going to create it? So this goes beyond just solving a simple sexual problem. It's actually setting you up for this next phase of your life. This is a structured space where you're going to get a chance to play and investigate and integrate. This is immersive. It's all here in the Zoom room, so you don't have to travel anywhere. It is immersive. It's participatory, so it's not a lecture. And I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to invite you. I'm going to call you forward, and we're going to play, and you're going to learn really valuable skills. This is a 3-day event in June. It happens 1 month from now. And this is a breakthrough event so that you create a breakthrough for yourself, earlier I talked about all the shit that gets in the way. You're going to have a chance to let go of that stuff in order to incorporate and then take action with this new material. Because we don't want to create a situation where you just keep adding and adding and adding and adding and adding. Because how many podcasts have you listened to? How many free classes have you gone to? How many books have you read? How many videos have you watched? And you're still in the same place. I don't want that for you. You don't want that for you. So this is a chance to let go and to implement new. Okay. This is not a sit on your ass and eat popcorn and watch a movie. This is a transformational experience. And for a very short time from now, for a limited time, Liberating Desire Live, the boot camp is $397. So you can join us for $397, and I will drop here in the link for that right now into the chat. So this is really for you if you're ready to take action, of course. If where you are is, I'm thinking about things and I just want to get an idea of what's out there and I just want to eat popcorn about it and I'm going to wait for another 3 months to take action, then of course this is not for you. But if you are like, you know what, stuff is really difficult right now, I have to change, I cannot go on any longer the way that this is for you. This is for people who are ready to take action. And that really is all about grounding yourself in your own intimacy, trusting yourself, letting go and standing up for yourself and really putting your desire and your vision first. And through this boot camp, when you sign up, you're going to get a couple of really cool bonuses: the intentional intimacy audio series, the sensational solo sex toolkit. I love this thing. This is a mini course on leveling up your own solo sex self-pleasure game. And then after the 3-day boot camp, we have some momentum coaching. And this is really to support you to take the next step so that you're actually implementing it, right? It's really easy to go to an event and have a great time and blow the roof off and then leave the event and go back into your life and then do nothing about it. But that's not useful. So now's a chance to actually make sure that you're implementing. So all in all, this whole weekend is valued with all the bonuses valued at, more than $2,000. The price today is $397. So it's a fantastic offer. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you what the opportunity is, the next step opportunity. Here's the thing. What I know from doing this work for more than 15 years is that when you're open and you take the coaching and you put it into action, that's when you create results. But if you're not open or you don't take the coaching and you don't put it into action, then you don't get the results that you want. All of the people who have put it into practice have created what it is that they desire. And ultimately they've created the best possible thing for them. So this is a 3-day boot camp. And if you've been struggling for 3 months or 3 years or 3 decades, then 3 months is a 3-day training is a no-brainer. So I want you to know that this is what I mean by training. This is one element that I mean by training. And when I coach, if you've noticed, if you spent any time with me, you notice that I'm coaching you in these 3 primary sectors: your desire, what you want; your body, what your erotic regulation is, how to erotically regulate your body, right? And your voice, how you communicate. Desire, body, and voice. These are the 3 fundamental areas. So I want to know, we still have more time to take your questions. Yeah. Okay, great. So we got a question about distractions. So how do we stay present, right, in the face of distractions? Or how do we help if our partner gets distracted? So the thing about distractions is that distractions come up all the time. There are a couple different avenues for handling distractions. One is you get really clear about what you get distracted about and then handle that shit before you get into bed with somebody else, right? Or even into bed with yourself. I know that when I masturbate and I haven't handled my shit, then I get loopy about it. So, one of my teachers calls this closing an open loop, right? So this means handling your to-do list, like not trying to remember everything, putting it down on a piece of paper, writing it down, putting it in your calendar rather than, again, trying to remember. Making sure that the dog and the cat are out of the room, that the temperature is exactly the way that you want it. All of these kinds of things. Handling that beforehand. If you like sex toys, get your sex toys out before you get involved in sex. Get your towel and your lube and whatever it is that you need before you get involved, so that you don't have to go reaching for it or chasing for it or, getting out from underneath the covers. Okay. So it's handling all that stuff beforehand. So what happens when you're in the moment and you get distracted? Well, again, let me go back to what you do before you get into bed with someone else. There are so many different kinds of practices: embodiment practice, meditation practice, breathing practice, emotional regulation practice. All of these are very, very valuable that you would do before you're in bed with somebody. And essentially all you're doing is referring back to what you've learned previously. So you take a breath, you slow the play down, you maintain contact, but you stop moving, right? You make eye contact. You communicate with words. Hey, I love you. I'm right here with you, right? Whatever it is that's between you and the person that you're with. It really depends on who your partner is, right? And how you communicate with them, or how they hear communication. You want to speak into them in such a way that it lands with them so that they come back. And maybe if they are getting distracted quite often, now you actually are having a different conversation outside of the bedroom, which is what's happening. What happens for you when you get distracted? Again, that's a conversation that you have outside of the bedroom. So, does that support? Awesome. Okay. So after so many years with the same partner, I feel less interested in my partner, but still very interested in other people. Yeah. 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 I know what I want, but I don't know how to get there with my partner. Whew. Okay. So this is really fantastic. Okay. So there are, again, this group of people, most of us are over 35, maybe even over 40 here. And if you're in this category and you've been with your partner for a long time, you know what you want, and you're not sure if your partner will go for it with you, or how your partner will respond when you start talking about it. See, how do I want to answer this? To you, my friend Alan, and to everyone else on this call, let me come to this. Let me start with this. What is your life worth? Like, really, this question, like, after so many years with the same partner, I hear this a lot. I really do. I hear this a lot. I've been with my partner, my wife or my husband, for so many years, and the sex has been terrible or off the table or non-existent for 5, 10, 15, 25 years. And now I really realize I want something different. I have to have something different. So the question is really, what is this worth to you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to you? If it's 5 and below, then maybe you do nothing. But if it's like 7 and above, then you get to be committed to creating what you desire. Because if you're not committed to it, if you're not committed to taking action, if you're not committed to pursuing your sexual expression, your love, your creativity, your erotic curiosity, if you're not committed to that, then you're not really going to do anything. Here's the thing about the question, how do I do something? The how may be different for every person. because the nature of your relationship and where you are personally is different for each one of you. As I talked about before, the kind of baggage that you're carrying and you're bringing to the table, the constellation of your relationship, who your partner is, how your partner responds or behaves, or what your partner is available for, all that's different. Those are the variables for everyone. So it's not really about how do I make this happen? It is, are you actually committed to creating what you want? Because if you're not committed, then nothing's going to happen, and you're going to stay in a space of frustration or bitterness or anger. If you're committed to creating what you desire, then the how begins to emerge for itself. And I mean this, truly, honestly. It may be a little vague. It may be even a little esoteric. But when we make a commitment, I'll even talk about myself. Earlier this year, I'm committed to a better relationship with my body. That's what I said to myself. Last December, I was all like, God, I need to go to the gym because I know it's going to be good for me. That was my inner dialogue. And in January, I said to myself, I'm committed to having the best possible relationship that I can with my body. I'm committed to being in the best shape of my life possible. And then the how started to emerge, and the steps on that path became clear, are becoming more clear as I continue down the path. So in this question that you're asking, Alan, and for everyone who is here who's married or who's in a partnership, and you want something and you don't know how your partner wants it, or you want something and your partner does not want that thing, right? The most important first step is about declaring your desire. It's about getting really clear about what you do want. What is really important to you? What is it that you really, really, really fucking want? It's not a trivial question. That's why I ask it so often. And lots of people want to skip over that, and they just want to get to the destination. But like this is, you're creating the vision of the destination. You can't skip this part. Right? So this is, what do you really want? And before you censor yourself and say, oh, well, I can't have this, or my partner would never go for this, you get to be really intimate, like so intimate that you are turned on by your own desire. You're turned on, you're lit up, you're excited, you're aroused, you are activated, you are excited, you are ready to jump from your own vision for your life, whether that is your sexual life, your intimate life, your partnership life, your relationship, whether it's your career, your money, your family, it doesn't matter, whichever part. And all these parts, of course, intersect with each other. It's about getting really clear about what you really want. And then you take steps to get coaching, get support, get clear with your wife, have a clear conversation with your wife or your partner about what it is that they want. Because chances are, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're thinking like, oh, this is a pivotal moment for me, I'm in a state of transition, chances are your partner is also experiencing that energy as well. They can feel you're in transition. They can feel maybe that you are antsy. They can feel that you want something. They can feel that you are frustrated. So what do they want? Maybe they want a transformation. Maybe they want something different. So you get to communicate with them. You get to be curious about it with them. Now, some people, working together with somebody else to support you to go from wherever you are to where you want to go is a really great choice. Sometimes it's you as an individual, you get to work with me or somebody else in order to really define what it is that you really want, get really clear in your own body, get the tools that you need, and also clearly communicate with your partner. And once you have at least those first steps, now you've got more information. The first part of all this kind of, transformational work is really about discovery. It's about discovering who you are, where you are, what you want. And especially when it comes to relationship, it's discovering who they are. Who are they now? Because who they are now is not who they were, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And they may, be different than they were just last week. So this discovery process is really valuable for you. You can't skip over it and go right into the, now I'm making changes and everything is different now. And one of the most important parts when you're in relationship and you want to shift something about your sexuality or how you express your sexuality with your person, or you want to bring in a third person, you want to go outside of the marriage, you want to open the marriage, you want to do something that's different than what you've done in the past, then discovering what your partner wants and what they desire and what's important to them and what they value and how important it is that they either stay exactly where they are or that they shift and change too, that's an incredible important part of the work. You can't just skip that. And if you do want to skip that, then you should just get a divorce. Right? That's also an option. But is that really what you want? I don't know. Ellen, does this support you? Yeah, I can see you nodding your head. Yeah. So, I hope that what you're hearing from me today is that this work of transforming your sexuality and generating sensational sex and epic love it's not a fucking blue pill. I'm not giving you a Cialis Viagra answer, because it is not that simple, right? That taking a pill it's a very American way to look at solving our problems, like an instant gratification solution. And when it comes to sexuality and it comes to intimacy and love affair, and it comes to creating or sustaining passionate love with somebody else, as I said before, it takes understanding what has come before, the myths and the messages that you've heard before, the information that you've heard in the past. Do you really want to take any of that on? Do you want to keep all that? It is healing from the past. It is recognizing, where you've come from, sorting some of that out. It's healing, it's letting go, and then moving into whatever the next phase is. And sometimes we do both of that at the same time. And sometimes we get to be really, really clear that we're letting go in order to step forward into the next phase that we're in. Last chance for questions here at the end. And I want to make sure that, again, Liberating Desire Live, the boot camp. There we go. There is another link. This is a full page readout of that link of the event, so you can see what we're up to. You can see a little bit more about me. You can get your frequently answered questions answered, and you can also sign up and save your seat. So we have a limited amount of space. We have a limited amount of time in order to sign up. And, this is a boot camp. So it's going to be a massive opportunity for you to create a breakthrough and to really level up and go the distance. So if you've been waiting, and some of you I've talked to before and I've had conversations with you and you said, oh, maybe I'm not ready, or maybe, I don't know, I got to think about it or whatever. This really is a fantastic best next step for you, because it is, it's 3 days, it is intensive, and it's going to make a really big difference in a short amount of time. Okay. So this is really the end of our time today. I can stick around for a couple more minutes if there are any more questions. Other than that, I'm going to say, hey, for those of you that I can see, it's really nice to see your beautiful face. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming in. And for those of you that I can't see, I look forward to actually seeing your face again, and lovely to know that you are here. We're going to do this Be Brave Q&A again next week, and I'm going to pick a question and I'm going to invite your questions. So if I did not answer your question today, you can always send a question to me and come back. We start at 10 a.m. Pacific time, noon Central Time, which is my time. And I'll see you very soon. I look forward to seeing you at the boot camp. Take good care, everybody. See you again soon. Bye.